I am super excited to bring this one to the channel. We've seen this over at the MPS event in Milwaukee during the 2019 campaign. We finally got it here, the all-new 12-inch, not 10-inch, 12-inch dual bevel sliding compact miter saw, brushless, cordless from Milwaukee. Oh yeah, and it has one key technology. So here's how we're going to do this, my friends. I don't want this video to turn into an hour-long episode, so we're going to split this up into two different versions. The first one here, we're going to do all kind of cuts, and then the next video, which will be posted within the next couple days, we'll talk about all the features and how to use them. So let's talk about what you get with this miter saw out of the box. You're going to get a 12.0 HD battery. You're going to get two blades, not one, and you get the saw. And again, as mentioned, it does have the one key technology, so you can put this right up on your app. You know, another thing that I thought was really cool about this kit was you get the two saw blades, which I already mentioned, but they're both 60 tooth. So you got one that's for finishing work, and I just think that's really cool that they added two of those blades in the bag. But what I want to do now is I want you to hear this thing starting up. An extremely powerful saw. Here you go. Now, Milwaukee claims it is more powerful than a 15 amp corded model. And I will agree with them because I have 15 amp corded models and it is more powerful. And the spring action on this thing, it is really, really good. You know, the movements, the slider, everything very, very well done on this miter saw. Now, we'll talk more about that in the next video. Again, this is more about cutting. So let's bring out some of that nasty MDF. Now, we're using the 60 tooth blade here. And if you've ever used MDF before, you know that it is extremely dusty. It goes everywhere. So I want to test out the dust collection system. A lot of times, the dust collection system is the weakest link on most miter saws and even table saws. But what Milwaukee did here was they actually put this extended rubber piece out on here that really directs all that dust into the bag. But does it work? We are going to check this out, and we are going to see towards the end of the video how well it did. You can hook up a vac if you want to. Here we go. Dust vacuum test number 1. MDF is so dirty. Now here's a different angle with the dust collector. Now it doesn't catch all of it, but it does do a very good job catching most of it. I would say probably 70%, 75%. It also does better when you're sliding it rather than coming straight down on your piece. Now I do also want to throw out there, they did an excellent job on the sight line. That shadow is really prominent. That light is so bright up in that saw, it doesn't matter if you're working out in the daylight or the twilight hours, you will see that cut line. You could turn that light on right there. So really, really nice job on that. I just wanted to throw that out there. Now let's take a look real quick at the different miters here. Again, I'm going to cover this in a second video with more detail, but I just want to let you know that it does work very, very well. You can lock it down into place if you want to. It glides. It's very easy to move to the left and to the right to different degrees. You have your positive stops on for all of your more popular cuts. And the etch numbering is rather large, so even if you have trouble seeing, you can see these very clearly. I really, really like it. So let's make a 45-degree cut on some pine here. And that was real smooth like. Again, super easy to get those cuts and adjust it to where you want. But the biggest question you're probably going to have is what can it cut down through? Well, the 12-inch, always great for larger projects. We have a 4x6 treated piece of lumber right here. Let's see what it does. So smooth. But I want to make you aware, even though it cuts down through these 4x4s or 4x6s with no issue, oh, check this out. We're going to go down through one more time, straight down. And that's great, but what you don't want to do on these larger cuts is actually slide it into the wood, because what happens is, because of your dust collector and that rubber piece, you can see it hits up against that wood, so you're going to want to come straight down with it. If not, you're probably going to bust that off and you're going to be really, really sad. But again, with the pressure treated lumber, no issues going down through that at all. What's nice about this saw too is that when you start this off, it is a soft start and it doesn't jump on you, so very, very controlled. But any cut that you want to make on this saw, you're going to be able to make it, and you're going to be able to make it very easily just because of how powerful it is. I'm telling you, I have corded saws, a larger 12-inch, and I will not be using them now because of this saw. And here's just another angle for you. Also wanted to mention, a lot more quiet than your corded. Also, absolutely no issues with that guard going over top of your material. It just slides and glides really smooth, does not get hung up at all. But let's talk about the double bevel. Yes, you can go left or right on this saw. There are no positive stops, so I'm just letting you know about that. However, the bevels are extremely smooth and very simple to make. This saw is not heavy at all. It is one-handed operation. Some of the older 12-inch saws, they were a real pain in the butt to get adjusted. Now, if you did want to go to the right with the saw, you do have to pull this pin out right here, and it will let you go to the other side. But once you bring it back up to 0 degrees, it will lock in on you again. We'll talk about that more later in the next video. So what I want to do right now is make a couple 45-degree cuts on this saw. But before I do that, let me just tell you something here. So, you know, I've been using this saw for the last couple days nonstop, and I have really developed a bond with this thing. We have really formed a bond, a true friendship, because it works so well. I mean, let me show you. I mean, we really have some good times together. And it's really understanding and helps talk me off the ledge, you know, for times when VCG Construction doesn't answer my phone calls. We've really been having a good time together. We just get each other. It's helped me get through those hard times, like if I mess up a project or, you know, I still hear cop tool / belts and boxes pronounced Ryobi wrong. It really is my new favorite miter saw and the one that I'll be using from here on out. Don't forget to smash that like button and get subscribed. Alright, let's make some 45-degree bevels. Oh, it's just so smooth, cuts through like nada. And, you know, the blade break on this, not the quickest I've ever seen, but it does shut down that blade pretty quick. Now, I'm using a 12.0 battery. They claim 330 cross cuts on a 2x4 with a fully charged battery. And I'll be honest with you, I've been making all kind of cuts with this, and even through that treated lumber, the 4x6, and you know, I'm still on the third battery. So you're definitely going to get a long run time on this saw with those larger batteries. I would not go any lower than a 9.0 though. As for the dust collection, it is probably the best that I've ever used. That extra little piece of rubber that they put down there, that little catch, works excellent. Check out all that dust that I got out of here. So that's a lot less on the floor, a lot more in the bag that you can toss in the garbage or do whatever you want to. So very well done with that Milwaukee IA. The only thing I didn't care for about this saw was, well, the clamping mechanism. It's not because it's bad, it's just because I have others that work a lot better when it comes to adjustments. They're a lot quicker. This one here, you really have to screw down all the way and then screw back up, and it just takes a lot longer. But I don't use them that often anyway, so not a huge deal for me. Now, a lot of other people are probably going to say, I wish they would have added the corded option. And I can't say that they're wrong, but that being said, Milwaukee is very clear that they want a cordless platform, and that's what they're going for. So, you know, it is what it is. And on a table saw, I can sort of understand that. With a miter saw, you know, you're not making constant cuts like you would a table saw where you're just ripping down through wood. On a miter saw, yeah, you're probably going to use it a whole heck of a lot during the day, but it's going to give you that time that if you had another battery, you could throw it on there. And this battery actually does last a long time. So on the miter saws, me personally, I don't really care if there's a cordless or corded option. I like the cordless, and I wouldn't use the cord anyway, if that makes sense. Now again, we will be doing a second video with all the stuff that we did not talk about in this video, you know, the special features, but let's talk a couple cuts here. So vertical capacity up against the fence, you're looking at 6 3/4 inch. Vertical capacity, you're looking at the nested crown, it's 7.5. Then the 90-degree cross cuts, you can do 2x14. You're looking at 3,500 RPM, so that's nice. The max miter capacity, 50/60. The 45-degree bevel cross-cut capacity 2x14. What I really like about this saw is the weight. Oh, and by the way, 45-degree miter cross-cut capacity at 8 inches. The weight of this saw is only, and it sounds heavy, but it's really not that bad compared to the other monsters that I have, 47.6 pounds. The power on this saw is awesome. They're saying more powerful than the 15 amp, and I agree with that. I have those larger 12-inch saws, and none of them are as powerful as this saw, at least the ones that I have in their professional grade. Again, way more features that I did not discuss in this video that we will bring in the second video. Really, really cool stuff, so make sure you keep an eye out for that. Get subscribed if you're not subscribed. Hit that bell notification so you don't miss it. You know, if you could, smash that like button because it really helps out the video. If you haven't come over and said hi to us on the Instagram page at Tool Review Zone, get over there and say hi. It'd be great to see you over there. Greatly appreciate you stopping by, and with that, we'll be back with more videos soon.